Hello, I'm Mark Hammett, minister of the Weber Road Church of Christ in Corpus Christi, Texas. I'm glad you've joined me for this daily devotional and Bible reading. Please turn to 1 Corinthians chapter 12. 1 Corinthians chapter 12 is where a reading will come from in just a moment. There's a story told about two paddle boats. This is from a century or more back. But they left Memphis about the same time, traveling down the Mississippi River in the direction of New Orleans. And as they traveled side by side, the sailors from one vessel made remarks about the snail's pace of the other. Words were exchanged. Challenges were made. And as you know, a race began. Competition became vicious as the two boats roared toward the deep south. One boat began falling behind. There was not enough fuel. There had been plenty of coal for the trip, but not enough for a race like this. Well, as the boat dropped back, an enterprising young sailor took some of the ship's cargo and tossed it into the ovens. When the sailors saw the supplies burned as well as the coal, they fueled their boat with the material they had been assigned to transport. They ended up winning the race, but they burned their cargo. God has entrusted us with cargo in our life also. Many of us have children, spouses, friends, grandchildren for that matter. And our job is to do our part in seeing that this precious cargo reaches its destination without being burned up. Yet, when the program takes priority over the people often suffer. When the race of life takes priority over getting to our destination, the people will suffer. How much cargo do we sacrifice in life in order to achieve the number one slot? How many people never reach the destination because of the aggressiveness of a competitive captain? Think about that for a while and realize just how precious those souls are of any of those children, a spouse, a friend, a grandchild. Think how precious their souls are and how important it is for each of us to do all that we can to navigate them, to get them to the final destination of heaven by our influence, by our example, and by the time we can spend with them, helping to develop their faith. Don't get to the end having burned up the cargo, but get to the end with a cargo. Hopefully you've been receptive to that illustration. And now I'd like to read from 1 Corinthians 12. In this passage, we find Paul speaking to the church in Corinth and reminding them just how important every member of the body of Christ is. Paul says in verse 12 of 1 Corinthians chapter 12, "For just as the body is one and has many members, and all the members of the body, though many, are one body, so it is with Christ. For in one Spirit we are all baptized into one body, Jews or Greeks, slaves or free, and all were made to drink of one Spirit. For the body does not consist of one member, but many. If the foot should say, because I'm not a hand, I do not belong to the body, that would not make it any less a part of the body. And if the ear should say, because I am not an eye, I do not belong to the body, that would not make it any less part of the body. If the whole body were an eye, where would the sense of hearing be? If the whole body were an ear, where would be the sense of smell? But as it is, God arranged the members of the body, each one of them, as He chose. If all were a single member, where would the body be? As it is, there are many parts, yet one body. The eye cannot say to the hand, I have no need of you, nor again the head to the feet, I have no need of you. On the contrary, the parts of the body that seem to be weaker are indispensable. And on those parts of the body that we think less honorable, we bestow the greater honor. And our unpresentable parts are treated with greater modesty, which our more presentable parts do not require. But God has so composed the body, giving greater honor to the part that lacked it. But there may be no division in the body, but that the members may have the same care for one another. If one member suffers, all suffer together. If one member is honored, all rejoice together. Now you are the body of Christ and individually members of it. And God has appointed in the church first apostles, second prophets, third teachers, then miracles, then gifts of healing, helping, administrating, and various kinds of tongues. Are all apostles? Are all prophets? Are all teachers? Do all work miracles? Do all possess gifts of healing? Do all speak with tongues? Do all interpret? But earnestly desire the higher gifts, and I will show you a still more excellent way. And then he goes in speaking, remember, in 1 Corinthians 13 about love. That's a great passage, and of course that was in a day where there were miraculous gifts, gifts of healing, gifts that were miraculous in nature, the gift of speaking in tongues or other languages for the purpose of spreading the gospel. Yet today, the same application can be made as far as every single member of the body. No matter how unpresentable or weak it may seem, at least in our own eyes, how important every single member truly is. Remember that in regards to the church. Never think you are unimportant, but always know you're important in the purpose of God. And may the Lord bless you richly as you seek to honor and fulfill His word.